I'm sorry about the wind, but I am not sorry about this gorgeous view. I have to share this with you. It's just too beautiful not to. It really is extraordinary. It's a Saturday and it's really quiet here. First really nice hot day I think we've had, and I'm having a paddle. It's just lovely. You can see my videos. Here we go. But anyway, as you can see, I've got my bags with me and all that. But I was just doing a little shorty on something that kind of comes up to me as well, is that, you know, sometimes we see a lot of adverts for 5-star resorts and hotels and trainings, and I've been on some amazing ones in Sedona and in Mexico, and I've also kind of created my own retreats so many times in amazing hotels around the world. And you know, I needed to do that, and I needed to go to those places. There was something within me that needed to be healed there, and that's where I went to find my answers. But of course the answers were already within me, and if I had probably been a bit more, well, if I hadn't needed it I wouldn't have gone, but you know, I did. And the reason, you know, I'm saying all this in a really funny old way today and going around the houses in a kind of a maze-like way, but I love that as I'm talking, what I'm feeling and what I'm wanting to share today is just, sometimes it's just so important to get lost, to let go of what you know, let go of a script, let go of personas, let go of a mask, of who we think we have to be, or where we think we have to be, and or how we think we have to heal, because we all heal in different ways. And sometimes it's in a 5-star spa, sometimes it's on a spiritual retreat, sometimes it's in a massage, you know, but sometimes it's sitting in the woods amongst the bamboo, just taking the time. And I think as soon as we create the space, that's where the magic happens. You know, the magic happens when you get your own space, whether it's time, whether it's money, whether it's physical space or head space, quiet, some silence, all these things. And that's why we get so scared of that. You know, if you're around people who can't handle silence, you know, always got to be talking, always got to be making a noise, always got to be reading, always got to be doing something. So if you're thinking about going on a retreat, and I wanted to answer this question shortly and longly, it's just, I get lost here. I get lost, and it's great because I let go of everything, and I love at the beach. Nothing bothers me. I let go of everything, and I'm just here with myself, my own, my own truth, and everything feels easy. And I think that's one of the benefits of anything that we do that's really sort of luxurious or wonderful or beautiful, natural, anything like that, is when we feel so good and supported and loved, that's when we can allow the tough stuff to come up, you know, when the dark things can come up, and we can heal them, because we don't feel alone, even though we have the space. We know it's safe. It's safe to have a good cry when you're on the beach. You know, that's often where I come and have a good cry. You know, it's safe to get messy, and we don't have to worry about what other people think so much, because they're over there, they're miles away, they can't see us, and they don't really care, because on the beach everyone's just having their own good time. Nobody cares what you're wearing, nobody cares if you sing a little song, if you have a good splash, if you jump in the ocean. Nobody cares, you know, in a good way, in a kind way. Because when you get back up there to where the people are, we'll go, hello, good morning, how are you? And sometimes it's just that wonderful space that allows us to heal. But the important thing is to remember that, you know, whatever you need to heal, your path is already in you. You know, you've got to just find your own way, your own path, and everybody's path is different. So I love what I offer. I love all my books and everything like that. What I always say is, I want you to do it if it's right for you, you know. Read the book that's right for you. Come on a training if it's right for you. Come to an escape or a retreat if it's right for you. go wandering off by yourself, wander off where you need to go. Find your way, because the answers are always within you. Your answers are within you. So no matter what videos you watch, how much you listen to other people, the most important thing is to learn to recognize when what somebody is saying is really right for you. Because everybody's different, and what's right for one person, one way of understanding it is right for one person and wrong for somebody else, because we all interpret the words differently. And one of the great things I've learned is you get to a certain level, and the really great teachers will tell you it's so important to disagree with your teachers. It's so important to go your own way. And you, as they say, the student becomes the master. You become the master because you take that learning, you take what you've learned and you explore it further. You make it bigger, you make it bolder, you make it subtler, you make it everything. And if you're not doing that, I would say that you're not, I'll get a bit technical here. If that's enough for you, it's okay. When you get to a level of education, so you get to a level of education and you do your bachelor's degree, so your BSc, your BA, whatever, your first degree, you're really just learning what other people have done, You learn it and you recite it back. You show that you understand the proofs, you show you understand it. And an MA can be like that. MAs are different depending on what subject you're doing. Sometimes you create your own work, your own projects, but you're doing stuff that's still based on everything that you've learned, and it's not, very rarely is it wildly groundbreaking. In fact, I think teachers like it when you do stuff that's a bit samey, that makes it easier for them to mark. But when you get to your PhD level, you get to your doctor level, which is, I got a PhD, it's Pearl Howie does. That's it. But when you get to your PhD level, what you're really doing is you're creating something new. So when you become a doctor, a PhD doctor, you have to create an original piece of work. So it might be a theory, it might be something you're proving, it might be a new way of doing something. But a PhD, a doctorate level, is about going out and doing something that nobody's ever done before in a different way. And I'm really glad because I've done that quite a lot now. But the first time I did something in self-help, and I wrote, and I was reading all the books, I was following all this stuff and learning from other people, and I never had that originality, that creativity. And the first thing that happened was and this was actually before I'd done any structured retreats, I've gone to any structured retreats really, I'd just been doing them myself, wandering around, and I came up with a page, one page of a theory, of a way of looking at life and self-help in a way that was unique to me and I could share. And I was so proud of that one page. I was like, oh, I've really got something here. I've really discovered something. I've connected the dots in a new and unique way. And it really helped me, and I think it helped other people, because I could talk about things in a way of this is what we're doing to ourselves. This is why we get stuck. This is why. Because, that's the whole page. But you go read that. And then I went on this retreat and I had an awakening, and I came back and I wrote a whole book of self-help. I was like, oh my goodness, I've written a whole self-help book. That's crazy. And it just kind of exploded from there. And once you open up, once you open up to your own creativity, your own originality, and you start connecting the dots, and you find a level. So you've learnt from everybody else, and you can understand the conversation. All of a sudden, you can start sharing and exploring and creating, because you've opened up that. You've opened up your voice, you've opened up your creativity, you've opened up everything. And that's when you start creating, sometimes I see coaching and stuff, and it's containers and people writing books, and you go and you realise, you read it and it's what, this is all quotes from somebody else. I've read this all before. I've seen this all before. This is all, somebody else's work, and somebody's just paraphrasing, or they're putting it a different way. And, it's getting very windy now. I think I'm going to call it a day. But you know, the thing is, when you do that, it's not, I'm not saying this to criticize people who do that, because I think my meditation for angry people had a lot of that in it. You know, there's a lot of stuff in there that was sharing and resharing, and some of my own work in there. But as soon as you start to open up to that, it's like doing your own paintings, where you're not trying to look like anybody else, or fashion, where you're not emulating or copying other people, and you just let go and you say, you know what, let me create something new, and be brave enough to not even share it with other people, but share it with yourself, to let it out, you know, to be brave enough to say, I'm just going to do this so you can really see the background. No, this doesn't want to play. But you're really allowing yourself, you know, you're allowing the freedom to express something, and to put it into a real sort of, a real physical analogy I hope you can understand. When I was in Malaysia, there was a place in Borneo, and they had these sun bears, the loveliest, cutest bears in the world. And when they're released from captivity, what they do is they stay on the tarmac in this enclosure with all the green space and everything, but they leave a bit of tarmac because the bears have never been on grass before. And so they go walking, and they pace, you know, they walk backwards and forwards on the tarmac, because it's what they know. Yeah? So it's safe to stay in the space that they know. And that's what a lot of us do, is we just pace backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. And that's, I think, what we do sometimes. I see a lot of people who are so brilliant and so creative, but they're just kind of regurgitating what other people have taught. You know, maybe I do that too sometimes. But I'm also open and creating new work, new things. Even if it's just, you know, a simpler version of something I've done before. And it's just really important to remember that sometimes we're taking so much energy to hold ourselves back and silence ourselves, and as soon as we release that, it's absolutely mind-blowing how much comes out once we open up to our own answers. And everybody in the world has their own answers. Everybody in the world has their own path. Everybody in the world has magic. Take care.